Hello, everybody. Welcome to Week 8. This is NFL Live. With you, as always, is Sagebo, and with me today is Clem,
Hello.
Dactor,
Yo,
and FSU alumni.
hello.
We're going to start off today with a short segment called What You Think About. And if you want to participate in the shout box, just give a panelist's name and ask them a question to see what they think about something. We're going to start off with Clem today. So, Clem, recently your division rival, the Houston Texans, traded away Harold Simmons. What you think about that?
Immediate concern for the Texans is their starting backup now is not the starting, the backup quarterback is Sam Light, and he's absolute trash. So just an immediate concern if Tommy Jones goes down, they're absolutely screwed at quarterback. I don't think Simmons is a bad quarterback. I don't think he's particularly good either. But I think long term, I would have rather stuck with McCready than Simmons if I was Buffalo. So I think all in all, both teams lost the trade.
Interesting, interesting. We're going to move to FSU alumni with a similar question. FSU, you were once the coach of the Buffalo Bills. They recently traded away franchise quarterback Erasmus McCready. What you think about that?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I've always been misusing McCready, or as I like to call him, McReady. He has a lot much better game knowledge and not as good of an arm, and I've often used him to throw long. I was kind of wondering if Simmons would be a better position for that, but when I had discussions with people who had knowledge of his stats, they said he's basically like a McCready, but just a couple of points better. And so the trade doesn't make as much sense. Now, granted, I have no clue what they're running anymore because they've obviously changed since I was there, but it's interesting that they would trade for a McCready 2.0 who's a little bit older, uh, doesn't seem to be that much better.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you
Mhm.
on a lot of parts. It was a weird trade for me. Now that I look back at it, I don't like it. This even with the game today. But we're gonna
Well,
move on to.
I think a lot of it was motivated by the fact that they knew that McCready was performing poorly at the beginning of the season, and I think they just really wanted to trade up. I think Simmons was just who they ended up with, not necessarily who they were aiming for. Now, granted, I have absolutely no knowledge of the thought process behind the staff right now, but I really think that Simmons was just there. Okay, we're making an improvement at QB.
Okay. I see your question, Mimsy, but we're gonna go straight to Dactor with his question. Yeah, Dactor, you're in the NFC North, which is a complete hellhole of a division right now. Every team has either 3 or 4 wins. Who do you
Yep.
think comes out with the NFC crown or NFC North crown?
Um, I think the only obvious answer is Detroit. They have maybe the best defense in the NFL right now. They just shut down Miami, who, although they're missing Brian Brown, is still scary, and they scored 31 against that defense, which is incredible. And that's without the count. The thing is, they might be missing LeCount for two crucial games that are upcoming against Seattle and St. Louis. And if they drop both of those games, it will create a slight window of opportunity because they also play Tampa later, and then they could also drop an upset. If they do that, then it really blows the division wide open. And I think beyond that, or them, maybe the best chance to kind of steal it from them is Green Bay. Um, we had a really hard stretch at the beginning of the season, and we obviously went 0-4. But since then, since we put in Novacek, we've improved greatly on offense. We're great injury wise, and I think our season is really looking up right now. Chicago is definitely also up there. They have a really hard schedule upcoming though, so I could see them dropping a lot of games down that stretch, and I mean a lot. So I think they'll come down to earth by that. And then the Vikings are pretty much fucked because of their injuries. Vardell is having to completely carry them right now. They lost two of their three best players. And yeah, I just don't like their situation at all.
So Mimsy asked me, Sage, what you think about Alan Taylor's performances this year? It's been almost half a season. First things first, I really like Alan Taylor. I've liked him for quite a while. But there's just one fundamental problem with Jacksonville, and it's happened for several seasons now, and it's that offensive line. I know they've just addressed it in drafts, but their offensive line rating, without the updated stats for this week, has been a 7.5 this season. That's that's one of the worst in the league. Actually, the fourth worst in the league, behind three expansion teams. So Alton Taylor's had to run for his life for the past 3 seasons. He's doing it again this season, and he just doesn't have the gas in him anymore. He's a fifth-year pro. He has no one guarding him, so he just has to chuck it up. And he's gotten intercepted 6 times because of it. Then we look at their recent scheme change. Against Houston, they went to more of an option run-heavy style of play. And it worked against Houston, but it didn't catch the Giants by surprise this week. We'll get to that game when we do our recaps, but Alan Taylor, one of the best things about him was he was a scrambler that kept the ball safe, and this season he's not keeping the ball safe. I wouldn't move on from Taylor right now. I think he's too good to move on from, but it's been a down season for him, and for various reasons for the Jags. Now, Time asks FSU alumni, what do you think about future Heisman-winning quarterback Andre Webb and his future in NFLHC? Feel free to address it however you like.
First, it is screw you, Time. You're just doing this to get on my nerves, but since it's a question, I'll answer seriously. Problem is he's a 2 of 5. It's hard to tell what's going to happen with him. Sometimes he plays great, sometimes he plays horrible. Obviously this week he played absolutely trash. His future is going to be dependent upon how his stats develop in his sophomore and junior year, and as of right now, it's, not really worth talking about as far as the NFL goes.
I know Yellow Evan is asking the entire panel, but I'm going to throw this over to Clem. Glenn White has played 5 out of the Dolphins' 8 games. How do you think his performances have been so far as a backup quarterback?
He got off to a pretty good start, I would say. I think at least surprising to me. But I think the last 3 games especially, he's been really, really bad. I think Brian Brown comes back, week 12 or something like that? Comes back pretty soon. So they're going to be stuck with Glenn White for a little while. And I mean, we look at the standings real quick, and they're still 5-2. But if they have to play 4 more games with Glenn White, I don't know if the Dolphins can hold tight in all 4 of those games. If they go 2-2, be 7-4 with Brian Brown comes back, he'll be fine. But I think they would need to look for a better backup in the draft for sure.
I'm going to lob you one real quick. What is Emperor the bestest coach ever?
I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say no, because of what we were last year and what we are this year. I mean, I coached last season, and you saw what we did, and he's coaching this year, and look what we're doing now. So it's hard to say no to that.
Okay, and then a final question. We're just gonna round the table. Who do you think the leading MVP candidates are so far? Everyone pick someone not on your team and pick someone different. That way we have 4 leading candidates, kind of. I'll start off. For MVP, I'm going to have to say Xander Williams. The Seahawks are 6-0. Probably going to be, or have a shot at being 7-0 this afternoon when they play the 49ers. Xander stayed healthy. He's kept his team with pretty good offense, considering how suffocating that defense is. And he's a quarterback. I mean, he's a quarterback on an undefeated team. He's putting up better numbers than Weger, in my opinion. I'd have to go with Xander. So we'll go to Dactor now. Who do you think's your MVP?
I definitely have to say Daryl Murphy right now. And I don't even know that it's that close. And that's kind of a bold claim because of how good Xander has been. But when you look at it, Xander has a bit better of a supporting cast at running back. And while you could argue Murphy has the best wide receiver in the game, which I don't even know if that's true anymore with Walt Peck, it's not like he's just been feeding him. he's spread the ball around in an almost unreal way. I don't think this is really precedented how well he's been spreading the ball around. And the Rams offense is just unbelievable this year. It's easily, I would say, the scariest offense in NFLHC. It's completely carrying the team. They're having a great season. They're definitely Super Bowl candidates, and it's pretty much all because of Daryl Murphy right now.
I'm sure he likes that a lot. Murph has a boner right now. Clem, who's your MVP candidate?
I think for variety's sake, I'm going to say Nick Hall. I wanted to say Skaggs at first, but I'm going to go with Hall just because he's playing just great this year. He's completed 66% of his passes. He's got 18 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, over 2,000 yards, a QB rating of over 117. And the Raiders are 5-2, leading their division. So I think for me, it's Nick Hall's time this season, early on.
And FSU, who's your MVP candidate?
Okay. I'm honestly going to go with a very controversial pick and go with Ron Thomas.
Wow.
The fact is, I know at the very least he's going to be freshman of the year, offensive freshman of the year, because the fact is Cincinnati is mostly run on its defense. But even with Blake Shell playing decently, without Ron Thomas, Cincinnati would be dropping a huge hell of a lot more games than they were. And so, as the impact they've had on the team, I think Ron Thomas has made a huge impact on the Cincinnati Bungles.
Bungles. Yeah. That was good reasoning behind it, and you were the last one to go, so you had to pick someone hard, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, I can't pick somebody who's
Throw someone controversial out there.
We're gonna hit up teams on bye now. We're gonna start off with the Miami Dolphins. Saluna and FSU alumni have been coaching this team. They're 5-2 on a bye. One of the biggest storylines is Brian Brown has been hurt for FSU's entire coaching career with the Fins. What give us a preview of what's going to go down when Brian Brown returns?
He's going to throw the damn ball. I mean, seriously, Brian Brown is probably the best quarterback, and I know there's going to be a lot of people who call me a homer for this, but he's probably the best quarterback in NFLHC. And playing around him not being there has really been interesting and hard, because the fact of the matter is the Dolphins team is developed to be around Brian Brown. And so playing with a backup quarterback who is decent. He's much better than his rating, but he's not a good quarterback on a team that's been developed around a passing game from such an excellent quarterback. It's really hard to kind of play without that.
And the usual Cade Rich 5, Skaggs, Greater Sign Brown, making a daily appearance. Cleveland Browns 0-7. Clem, I know you worked for them before. What do you think they can do to turn it around after this bye?
I don't think they will be able to. They're just not a very good team right now. I mean, Ryan Clark's been playing really well. If you look at his stats, he's probably one of the top 10 quarterbacks, which is crazy because I thought he was having a pretty bad season, but he's been really good so far. The issue is Don Williams, and the running back situation is pretty bad. I think he's getting banged up, he's getting kind of older, and he's just not up there. I mean, right now he's got a 3.89 yard per carry, and his backup beat Choboyan has a 3.77. So the running game just isn't there. Help out Clark, which is something I think a scrambler really needs. In the defense, really outside of their defensive line and a couple of guys in secondary, the defense really isn't good. They have probably one of the worst linebacking crews, honestly, in my opinion. At least most overrated in terms of ratings. Kadeem Martin's fine, but I really don't like Jayshon Watts, and I don't like their third or fourth cornerback, and I don't like their free safety situation. So they have a lot of work to do, but I just don't think they're going to turn around the season. I think they're just going to let themselves lose and just kind of get the first pick.
So before we move on, if you were a GM with the Browns during this past draft, would you have kept Paul Goodman?
I don't know if I would have drafted Paul Goodman at that place. I honestly don't know, but I would not have traded him at all, especially to pick a second or third round rated cornerback in the first round.
Yeah,
that I definitely wouldn't have done.
Now, I'm going to talk about the Minnesota Vikings, so I don't have to talk about my Rams. Vikings are 3-4, and it's looking very downhill for ALWL and his team. They don't have Chester Henson for the entire season. Rashid Kent he's okay. There's been worse running backs, but he's not Chester Henson, which is a big deal. Sonny Beckett hasn't been just like wrecking teams, and this defense, my goodness, just looking at their corner situation it's probably this year's Kansas City equivalent to cornerbacks. They've been beaten by the Jets, the Packers, the Lions, and the Rams, which is all really good teams at this point in the season. But I don't see them winning many more left on their season. They have New England after this bye week, and with the way Lawyer Johnson's been throwing the ball and the way the corners of the Vikings have been playing, the Pats might win that one. Then they go San Fran, Chicago, New York Giants. These are all throw-heavy teams. It's going to be a long, hard season for Minnesota. I don't see them winning more than one or two more games, to be honest. So, Dactor, you were once a member of the St. Louis Rams.
That I was.
Rams are on a bye. They're 6-1. Where do you think they end up at the end of the season? Playoffs? No playoffs? What do you think goes on there?
I think playoffs is almost definite at this point. Looking at their schedule, I predict them going maybe 13-3. They'll probably drop to Detroit, assuming that LeCount is back in. If he's not, then they might win that game. And then I predict them losing to Seattle, although they could definitely win that because they only lost by 3 at Seattle. Murphy has just been godlike. Their wide receivers have been godlike. Their defense has been good enough. They have maybe the best offense in the NFL right now. It's pretty incredible the turnaround that they've had from the last couple of seasons where they've been good but not great to being one of the top teams this year. I really like their chances right now.
With that's all the teams on bye. We're going to move on to the Thursday night matchup. This past Thursday, the New York Jets traveled up to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. Jets win 20-17. FSU, you've been in division with them. Just give us a quick glance through. What did you think about this game?
I was hoping they'd drop it, if I'm not going to lie. The Jets are a good team, but right now is the most likely time that they're going to drop games is because of injuries. They've got injuries all over their offense. I mean, they've got their wide receiver, Jesse Scott, out for the entire season. They've got Carano out till week 15. Sohn, their offensive tackle, out till week 14. And their tight end is out till week 11. They're going to have trouble making offensive moves. But the Jets have a good defense, so that's what's been keeping them in the games, and that's what won them the game against a rather weak New England Patriots team. And so, given the fact that their performance was relatively poor against the New England Patriots, and they've got Green Bay and Oakland up on the schedule before, I believe, anybody comes back. Trying to check. But in any case, there's going to be a large period of time in which they're at least missing Sohn and Carano. And that's going to make a big difference on them, and I think they drop a couple based upon their injuries.
Yeah, just fact-checking for you, they play Green Bay next week, Oakland the week after. None of those guys get back from injury. Maybe Tommy Leonard comes back. Maybe their punter, John Meslowski, gets back. But those 4 major injuries you're talking about, none of them are going to return for those 2 expectedly tough games.
Jets also have a good kicker too. They have good defense and a good. Oh, sorry. They have a good defense and a good kicker, and sometimes that's good enough to help you win games.
Well,
sometimes.
it's just that they're playing relatively tough games that I think would be they'd be able to win, but would be relatively difficult even with a full squad. And with missing so many pieces of their offense, I just don't think they're going to be able to pull it out for every game.
Now, I'm gonna ask Dactor this one. Laurie Johnson's currently leading the league in passing yards. How do you think the law? How would you rate the law? Is he good enough to be a starter? Is he bad? Is he great? Like, what do you think about the law?
um, I think Laurie Johnson is an interesting person. He's in maybe the worst situation for any quarterback in the NFL. He has mediocre receivers. He has a mediocre running back who is very injury prone. He has a mediocre offensive line. He's just on a mediocre team. He's actually impressed me for the most part, considering what he's been given. When I was the GM of the Patriots, I know I was planning, and Sleuth was supporting me there. Azul doesn't really make decisions to build around Lawyer Johnson for the future. So this point in the season, I still definitely believe in him as the long-term quarterback for the Patriots. I don't think they should give up on him anytime soon unless he really goes downhill. And I think he does have a potential to be really good if he's given a great supporting cast. But right now, he's just not really in the situation to be his best.
And with that, we'll wrap up the Thursday night game. Major injuries: Harold Johnson. The Pats are going to lose one of their offensive tackles. He was already questionable to begin the game. And so
Yeah.
this is my first experience of a guy that was on the injury report, played, and then got hurt because of it. That is pretty cool. Thanks,
Yeah.
Linda.
I think one of the Bills had one of that happen. Trying to remember who it was.
Was it Robert Barraza?
Yeah, that was not fun.
Now on to the Sunday morning games, and we had an awesome slate this morning.
Fucking Christ.
This was just an awesome slate of games. Every
Yeah.
game was really interesting to look at. We're going to start off Baltimore, Buffalo. The Ravens going up and beating
Damn.
the pants off the Bills. Now, we've already talked about the Harold Simmons trade. And here's my perspective on it. I'm just going to get up on my soapbox now that I have a chance. First off, they get Harold Simmons over Erasmus McCready, and I kind of understand that. McCready had a bad year. He's been way below par this season. Simmons looked great for the Texans in his last few games. Trade made sense in the sense that, but the Bills aren't in a championship window. It's going to be hard for them to even make the playoffs right now because of the way the Jets and Dolphins are playing, and it's almost unheard of that they would get the last wild card spot. Simmons and McCready, they're similar quarterbacks, yeah, but Simmons was transition tagged last year. He's in a contract year now. They gave up so much for McCready by trading up in 2017 to draft him in the third round. And then I just feel like if they just stuck with McCready, gave him more experience, see how you did heading into the offseason. I mean, there wasn't a rush for wins. There wasn't that need for wins at this point. It's just a hard pill to swallow, especially when they got Simmons for, I think it was a fifth rounder, which was what Simmons was originally drafted with. And Simmons might not be with the team next season because he's on a one-year contract. Then they get rid of McCready, which I really didn't like. It's just Buffalo's in a weird spot right now. They had two weird moves with quarterbacks, and regarding this game, I mean, Simmons had a week of practice. He doesn't really have chemistry with his team, but he had a bad game. He had a really bad game.
And he hasn't even played in a few weeks either. So, I mean, it's like he was starting before. The guy hasn't played in forever, at least in the season. So it's understandable if you have a bad game. It's the first game out there.
Well, also, I was his coach last year, and I think actually really highly of Harold Simmons. I think he is a good quarterback. I don't necessarily like the trade that the Bills made, but I do think Simmons is a good quarterback. And with my perspective as his former coach, I feel like this one is completely on the Bills coaching staff because I think they somehow screwed up the game plan. Um, Simmons is an interesting quarterback in that he has to be used in a specific way, or a couple of specific ways. And if he isn't used in those ways, this is what happens. It's horrific. They probably went streaks post with him, and that's just something you can't do with Simmons. He doesn't have the arm for it. That's where he has his worst games easily. That's where he looks like this. And that compounded with the fact that he has no team chemistry, is just learning the playbook, that's probably what resulted in this game.
And as much as I've talked about this a little bit before, I was a little bit confused by the trade, mostly because I think a lot of it is about when I always game planned, I game planned around Chad Dess when I was there. I played McCready in a way that was definitely subpar because I believed that I needed to play him that way in order to get a balanced attack using Dess. If somebody was going to trade for a QB, I thought it would be somebody who fit Dess better, who would be a longer thrower, more time, get that kind of balanced attack going that McCready really had a difficult time doing. McCready was really good at game management, but he didn't have that arm just like Simmons doesn't. And I think that Dess needs that long game so that the short game can be opened up. I really think that Dess is being held back by the fact that that they don't have any kind of long game to open up those that running lanes for them, to spread them wide, to do anything to provide that kind of support that a primarily interior runner needs. And the fact is, this trade didn't do that. This trade got them a little bit better, potentially a little bit better version of McCready, and that confuses me. Plus, there were just so many other holes on offense. Our line wasn't strong, wasn't always strong, especially with Carraza out. It's just, this confuses me.
Do want to mention real quick that Baltimore's center Jim Bozo has a neck injury. We don't know how severe it is. We'll find out hopefully shortly how long he's out for. You there, Sage?
All right, so how about we move on to that Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game? Cincinnati coming home with a relatively close victory, a comeback victory in the fourth quarter. Kind of a sloppy game, turnovers, a lot of them in the fourth quarter especially. What are everyone's reactions to this?
Not much. I still don't understand why Pittsburgh's rolling with Rob Core. That makes no sense to me that he's our quarterback. You got Pro Bowl quarterback Ontario Smith on the roster. You got Paul Davenport on the roster, who started over Core at Miami in college. So I don't know why you're going with Core still. Engelberger is okay. He's not a long-term starter. I thought Pittsburgh was in a fairly good shape last season, but I honestly think that they've taken a step back this year, especially the offensive line's regressed from year to year. And Cincinnati got lucky in this one.
What impressed me most about Cincinnati, and always impresses me about Cincinnati, is how good their defense is performing. This week they got 1.5 sacks with a forced fumble recovery from Brett Bailey, an interception by Severns, and a half a sack and a forced fumble by Dixon. That's a defense stepping up and actually making plays.
Hello?
You know, on Pittsburgh's side, they had a bunch of tackles, but only one interception. I really think that the difference wasn't in the offensive play as much in this game as it was in the defensive play.
All right, real quick, could I just get back control? Someone was messing around with the fire alarm. I was hearing what you guys were saying, but I guess my mic didn't come back on when I tried to unmute. Did we ever talk about Baltimore in the Buffalo Bills game?
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
There's not a whole lot of storylines with them. They're kind of irrelevant at this point in the season.
One thing I wanted to say was DeSam recently gave up control. He was owner, GM, head coach all at once. Now he spread it out. He gave GM to Ethan and head coach to Monarch. Do you guys feel like that's an improvement? Where do you guys rate the new changes?
They're all inexperienced and don't know what they're doing. It's going to take time for them to figure it out.
Hmm.
And I still don't trust the Sam to be involved in NFL HC and be successful. So I think they're going to have to win despite the Sam.
Personally, I rate Monarch as a pretty good coach. He's done really well with Memphis in the last 2 seasons. And then we pretty much trained Ethan. He was the head scout of the Rams. I think it'll be really interesting to see where they land up. This team is talented. I don't really know what they would replace.
I
they've
would
had a lot of-
replace Booker T and Reggie Watkins. I think it's time for those guys to go.
Booker
I'm
T.
not sure about that.
I think they've hit their prime. I think they're kind of starting regressing. And also giving up Paul Howell, they have no receiving threats now.
Yeah, I think receiver is something they need. And maybe Watkins could have to go, but I still think Booker T is a good enough running back that they can roll with him for a little while longer.
I think trying to replace both of them in one season would be a mistake.
Hmm. I agree with that.
I really like their top receiver, David Wells. He's had a good season. I think Watkins and Washington are still good enough, but they've had so many horrific offensive line injuries. I think they're missing 4 offensive linemen. That would be where I would make the early draft moves next season. I would grab like those offensive linemen, pretty much offensive linemen. Penn State has a good one, John Eaton, I think his name is. That's where I would go if I was the Ravens. But we'll move on. That got weird. You guys are talking about Bengals and Steelers?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why it makes no sense that Rob Core is still starting.
Well, the thing is, Rob Corp didn't even have that bad of a game this time around. That kind of surprised me. I figured that. Well, I mean, aside from the 2 turnovers, though, he had a high efficiency, and the fumble was probably a sack fumble.
Well, I don't know, high
probably from the blind
efficiency.
side. That's more on the offensive line, in my opinion.
Yeah, considering that Dixon had half a sack, I think that the forced fumble came when Bailey and Dixon hit him together. And
was
if you're being
definitely
hit by
that.
Dixon and Bailey, I think you're gonna fumble.
Yeah. So, I expected the Bengals defense to really tear him apart. So, with that considered, his performance is pretty good. But he has been mediocre at best this season.
I don't think Rob Corp is the problem for Pittsburgh. I don't see Ontario Smith doing better, and Davenport really struggled this past season.
Yeah, Davenport is very iffy.
Yeah, I don't think Corp is the problem, or Core is the problem, but I think their defense let them down. They had a 10-point lead heading into the 4th quarter, and then they lose by 7.
But
I
you
mean,
can't
they
put
gave
that
up-
all on the
they gave up
defense
under 300 yards.
when the game-winning touch.
Do you want to mention that their offensive line is trash? Last season they had a lot. I think they had 4 rookies starting who were in the mid-70s. It looked like they maybe were primed to have a kind of a good young growing core of offensive linemen, but like 2 or 3 of those guys regressed, and their offensive line's just gotten really bad. And Engelberger's taking a step back because of it. I think it's affected Core's play. So I think that's something another team that needs to look at offensive line early in the draft next season is maybe trading up to get somebody.
I definitely agree. They had the worst offensive line in football, bar none.
And
7.2. That's terrible.
I would like to mention, and this is the point, I don't think you can put all of this on the defense because, yes, they did get up to 27-23 on the defense, but within 28 seconds of possession, there was a fumble recovery by Cincinnati, which they were able to burn another 2.5 minutes and get a field goal to make it a full 7-point difference. So that's more on the offense, giving the defense in probably bad position, because you got to think if 28 seconds they might be at the 45.
Yeah, probably half field.
So giving them in a field goal position, the Cincinnati probably just ran Thomas a couple of times, burnt some clock up, and then got a kick to make it a full touchdown instead of 4 points.
It may have been right at the 20 too, because since he had just scored, Tom Edwards, the fullback, coming in for that 1-yard run, They kick it off. Maybe Pittsburgh takes the touchback. Core gets out, has a few snaps, fumbles. Hell of a play by Jermaine Dixon though. Jermaine Dixon might be having an All-Pro linebacker season this year. Every time I look at his numbers, I'm surprised. He's had what? Let's see, 19 tackles, 2 sacks, and interception. He's a do-it-all linebacker. His 5th year in the pros. He might be putting together an All-Pro season. I would put him down as the star of this Bengals team. Everyone knows I don't like Blake Shell, and Ron Thomas. He's hot and cold. I really like Dixon though.
Well, I mean,
Really like Dixon.
Thomas is hot against the Arizona Cardinals, and he's cold against everyone else. So.
Everybody's a hater.
I do want to mention real quick that Pittsburgh only had converted 3 out of 14 third down attempts. And I don't know who that's on the offensive line or that's on core, but if you're doing that badly on third down, you're not going to hold on to the ball. So that's another reason the defense may not be at fault, is the offense can't stay on the field.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the offensive line only had a 7.2 that game, which is
That's like college level.
That's
like a good college
that's like
The
par for
vault
the course,
is
though,
a better
for,
line. than that.
Pittsburgh.
We'll move on to Colts versus Eagles.
Colts.
My
Yeah,
God.
Clem runs these pick'ems, and I was like, I think I'm gonna go with the Eagles. Eagles are playing at home. Ken Eller's been good. No, Colts came in and smashed. That it was an ugly game. I'm just,
Very ugly.
Yeah.
oh man,
I
just
mean,
ugly all around.
Shea
look at the Colts
performed well,
defense.
but I think really where all of this lies is in the defense for the Colts, which I was kind of a little surprised by.
Yeah, they're
There was
pretty
an
insane.
pick six. There was another pick at the very end of the game. Quentin Smith had 2.5 sacks with a fumble recovery. I mean, poor Eller. I'm surprised he's not on the injury list.
Those
He might
2.5
be-
sacks put Quentin Smith at 8 total and first in the league in sacks right now.
Yeah, the Colts are pretty insane. The Eagles kind of disappointed me in this game. Troy White really struggled, but that also might have something to do with their offensive line having a 7.1 rating. Pretty terrible.
I'm gonna bring this up real quick since you're talking about the line. The Eagles average a 7.57. That's second worst in the league in offensive
Yeah.
line, but they're number 1 in sacks allowed. Prior to this game, they had only allowed 2.5 sacks the entire season.
I've just got to say that Eller has to have a very great injury resistance, because if that were Brown, he'd be out for good.
But I mean, Eller doesn't hold on to the ball much. He's only been sacked 2.5 times this season. Quentin Smith doubled that in one game. I
He
think this
probably gets
offensive,
the ball quick,
yeah,
really quick.
yeah. Eller must have the fastest release in the pros. That's unreal. Meanwhile, Troy White, you guys really bottled him up. Who do you think did most of the bottling up in run support, Clem?
Well, probably I don't know how this is, I would say, but I know Kelly Mitchell's been really good for us. I think it's like the first time in like 4 weeks he hasn't been on the stat sheet. He leads our team in tackles, so him and I forgot who our other inside linebacker is. They did Clark, I think, is the other inside guy. Did really good, and then probably Odoms and Walls on the outside. Our secondary probably didn't do too much, just because I think our corners are a little undersized. But I'm gonna shout this out. Sean Burton is the best free safety in football, and you can't argue that.
Yeah. Sean Burton is really, really good.
Great Corbin, man.
Corbin had a good game today too. We'll get
Corbin,
to
I think, has been solid for them, but yeah.
But yeah, just to recap this game, Colts dominated. Eagles, man, they had been looking good up till this game. It was just a bad beatdown.
Want to bring up third downs again? We went 5 for 9. Eagles went 1 for 12.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh
So
my god.
That's where the whole get rid of the ball really quickly with Eller thing kind of falls apart. That's probably
Yeah.
where Smith got all of his sacks, honestly, is on third down where he has to hold it a little bit.
yeah,
Troy White having a yards per carry of terrible didn't help
of like
Eller
two
out
and a
at all
half.
either.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a fumble. Yeah, Troy White has been really good this season, but that was ugly.
Let's talk about Aaron Shea. 17
yeah.
of 24, that's 73% completion, 277 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He just gave us, every time he went out through the ball, he gave us a chance to score and move the ball down the field.
Aaron Shea is like Peyton Manning, but without the crappy first season. This is outrageous.
That's true. That's true. We already have more wins than they did in the first season, so.
Shea might be a top 5 quarterback.
I've been saying that. I
He's
looked
pretty
at the
great.
stats once in a while, and the
Like-
only area where he's struggled in is throwing interceptions, which for a rookie makes sense. He's like 5th in the league in interceptions thrown, in most interceptions thrown, so.
I actually don't
Other
see
than that,
him
yeah,
as
top five.
yeah, I don't see him so much as Peyton Manning as I see him as Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
I think they're
With-
pretty much exactly the same career paths actually so far. It's interesting.
I mean, like Skaggs, Murphy, Xander Williams, Brian Brown, Aaron Shea, number 5. He might be. Like, he's really good. Nick Hall.
Yeah, Nick Hall's up there too.
Yeah. Just
But statistically-
outrageous.
Shea's had a top 5 season this year.
hmm
Move on to the other NFC East versus AFC South game. We have the New York Giants playing against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Fucking Jags.
God damn it, Jaguars.
The goddamn fucking Jags.
Jackson,
Goddamn useless.
you can't say Jacksonville played badly this game, though. That's the big thing. John Adams had an excellent game,
Yeah.
and Jacksonville,
Mhm.
compared to how they've been playing, they've been improving hugely. 31 points, I think, is one of their top 2 games for points scored. So Jacksonville actually pulled out. Yeah, it's their second highest game with their win against Houston as the only game they've scored more points. So their offense has been improving greatly.
Yeah. Well, by improving greatly, I don't know. I have no idea what the hell is up with them with John Adams having such great performances, and Alan Taylor still struggling. It's really weird to me.
Well, who's
I can't.
Alan
I
Taylor
wouldn't
throwing
say Alan
to?
Taylor struggled that much. I mean, he was 2 of 3,
Maybe
105
not.
yards
like-
out of 19 attempts. That's 10 yards for 1 interception. That doesn't
Yeah.
seem like a huge struggle to me.
It isn't a huge struggle, but it's not the Alan Taylor we're used to, where he can like carry the team.
Alan Taylor also has the best tight end in football. Like,
He does.
Derek Harrison is amazing.
Harrison has carried their team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Harrison.
but I mean, they've got Wesley Chandler as their main receiver, and trust me, he's not very good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Outside of Harrison, he's got no one to throw to, and it seems like this defense has taken a step back this season.
I would
They
I
were
would chalk up the
okay
defense.
last year, but they've been pretty subpar this year.
I would chalk up the defense to losing that strong safety. What's his name? It just escaped me. Larry Reeves. Larry Reeves had a really good season until
Is he
he.
hurt?
Yeah, it's Achilles injury. He's out for the year, I think. Let me check.
Oh shit.
Yeah, MCL out until week 14. But before the injury, he was their best defender. 33 tackles, 2 interceptions as a strong safety.
hmm
Yeah, that's a
And who else
huge
on that
loss.
defense is going to make plays?
Yeah, no one.
I can't.
Evan
Honestly, I can't
Evan
name anyone on the defense really.
Evan mentioned that he was playing the pass against Jacksonville while they were doing all that heavy running. So that may account for some of how Jacksonville managed to put up such great scores.
Oh well, against
stats
Houston, I
on
figured,
Adams.
but that's what's confusing me about the Giants game. Unless the Giants just for some reason played the pass.
They did. Or wait, 1 second.
Evans
The
at
Texans played
Texans
last
coach.
week.
No, Evan's not. Okay.
We're gonna go to Giants now, and Will Hall. What a rookie season this guy's had.
Yeah.
Is he the
He's
favorite
been really
for
good.
defensive player of the year?
He might be. I don't
Defensive
know.
Yeah.
rookie of the year.
He's one of
I
the
don't know
most
who
talented
else.
players in football.
He's outrageous.
I'm not sure what other defensive player you can maybe put up there besides like Darius Jones or maybe a Ryan Gray or one of the linebackers. But even then, I don't think they've had the standout year that Hall has had.
And then RJ Stanford's probably one of the top tier offensive rookie candidates. Uh, he had a good game. 307 yards, 3 touchdowns, a game winner to Keith Setzer with 2:32 remaining.
I just want to add that Hall had, and this doesn't account for this game, but had the most interception of any player so far this season, and he's added another one. He was at 5 before this week, and now he's at 6.
I think Will Hall also blanked his receiver. Curtis Settles is their number 1, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
I forgot that he was even a thing.
Yeah. Will Hall.
The
is
Jags
an
have been
animal.
terrible at drafting. I think that's one of the issue too is they've
Yeah.
not drafted well.
Yeah.
We'll move on. Got the Falcons and the Broncos in London. Yeah, a lot of new fans. A lot of new fans. What a game. Start off, Darius Jones with a 75-yard pick six. Later on, Charles Johnson gets a fumble recovery. These are rookies.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, I thought Charles Johnson was an overdraft where they took him, but he's had a very good year, and he might turn out to be worthy of the number. I think it was number 12 they picked at, or 11. I thought he was kind of a reach there, but he's been really good this year.
He has how many sacks right now? He has
I mean, he had 2 today.
5 in the season.
Well,
5 sacks.
what's interesting is this game seemed to be the game of bad offensive line play.
Oh yeah, both below 8.
7.7 versus 7.5. It's
Yeah,
like
that's
both of these quarterbacks were running for their lives the entire game. I think that's where some of the interceptions came from.
Interceptions and not converting third downs.
The 7-5 for the Broncos really confuses me because Atlanta's front 7 is terrible.
Well, I
Atlanta
don't,
might have the
they're,
worst
they're
front.
starting a former Virginia Cavalier at defensive tackle, so he can't be that bad.
And both teams lost a player. Atlanta
Yeah.
lost Bo Woodall,
Yeah, that's a
and
huge loss.
Denver lost Adam Smith.
Scott.
Sorry.
Yeah, Bo
Yeah.
Woodall has been really good this year. He's before this game he was leading the league in receiving touchdowns. So losing him for any amount of time is going to hurt their offense significantly, I think.
And then one of the big matchups for this game was David Wilburn against what's that really good Denver receiver?
Daryl Mack,
Darryl Mack.
who didn't get.
Wilburn blanks Mack.
I mean,
Yeah,
Doug Mosley
that's
made the
expected.
spreadsheet with 2 for 28, and Daryl Mack didn't make it. So
Yeah,
that's bad.
Wilburn.
I mean, that's expected. That's just par for the course to Wilburn.
Wilburn is
Yeah.
still as good as he was several years ago. It's outrageous. If you guys were Atlanta's front office, where do you guys think you'd make a move to try to improve this team? We'll go to Dactor for this question.
See, that's a really difficult question because earlier this season I defended AJ Jefferson in that article I made, and I thought that they really were getting kind of unlucky and that they should be performing better. And I still think that's somewhat true, but as time goes on, I'm losing faith little by little in Jefferson. The more I realize that they have an incredible receiving core, and he just isn't really able to do a whole lot with it. He's been average, but average isn't really what you look for when you have arguably the best receivers in the league. I don't know. I'm not going to say that it's time for them to move on from him, but I think they
Definitely
need to start
not.
weighing their options.
I think what I've seen so far too is that Achille Wallace hasn't been playing well either.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
he's
that's
not
true.
been playing good. I think him not playing well is hurting AJ Jefferson. I think that part of that is the offensive line hasn't been playing up to par. So maybe if they want to improve their offense, they would go offensive line. But they also need to get some more defensive linemen too because they're not very good.
Meanwhile, for Denver,
Yeah,
the most
they're starting a 78 as their right offensive tackle, Thomas Donaldson.
I mean,
I think they need to target a tackle.
well,
Well,
Green
I mean,
Bay has
we're
a
starting
77, and we're doing really well
Yeah.
offensive line-wise.
we're starting a 77 tackle at guard. So
Yeah.
and we have like an A+ line average. So I don't think it's necessarily. I think it's the personnel they have aren't working well together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that offensive line reading, a lot of it is dependent on team chemistry. Because I
And
think we have a 75 or a 70 offensive tackle starting at guard, and we have a top four offensive line unit. But we've had 3 or 4 guys play several seasons together. I think when expansion teams start getting guys that have built up chemistry over a long time, they'll see their numbers get better.
well, I think it's if you have one or two good guys on the line that can really anchor you, and it's also the scheme you're running too.
Hmm.
I think we've got a good balance of guys running the scheme we're running. It elevates our play.
And then can we talk about Coach Bingo cracking the whip? 2 penalties, 10 yards. I don't think I've seen a pro game with that few penalties.
We didn't mention the Colts game, but the Colts did have 11 penalties for 110 yards
Yeah.
Oh my god.
and still won by 25
Physical
points.
aggressiveness? I don't know.
And then Greg Corbin, he's somehow still healthy. He hasn't even made the injury report this year.
No, Greg Corbin, I actually kind of wanted him when I got to Green Bay. That didn't work out, but I still think really highly of him.
Yeah, 6 tackles and 1 interception. That's Darius Jones' stat line just with that touchdown.
Hmm.
Good game.
Is Jerry Rambo hurt?
Yes.
Because I saw that John McMurtry started for them and did not play very good at all.
He's been doubtful for a few weeks, I think. Questionable now, knee injury.
Yeah.
In the final game of this slate, before we start doing our predictions for the rest, the Kansas City Chiefs just smashed New Orleans in the Superdome.
Crazy game.
FSU, what are your thoughts on this game?
Honestly, I'm confused by it. I'm not gonna lie. DeVroe is normally better, and I didn't think Pierce was that bad. Under 3 yards per carry. That's just horrible.
Is Drew Pierce like worse than the Walrus Paul Gibbs?
It's hard to be that bad.
Oh my gosh.
It's really it's difficult. You have to be trying to be that bad. If it weren't for the fact that it's New Orleans, I'd begin asking if they were tanking. But
Yeah, they're never going to tank. I don't like Aaron Devereaux as a quarterback. I mean, I know he's lived in there for like 2.5 seasons, but if I were New Orleans, I would start looking somewhere else. Honestly, I
Wow.
don't think he's going to lead your team in the future.
Devi has so many good receivers. Sean
He
Jenkins,
can't
Greg
put
Newman,
the
that's
team
true.
on his back.
Spec
He is
Davidson.
capable of carrying the team.
Oh man, he was receiving a lot of hype back in 2015, 2016, whenever he
Yeah,
was drafted.
Didn't he win a national championship at LSU the
Yeah,
first season?
Yeah, he did.
And he was really good in college.
Extremely good in college, but
I mean, everyone thought the Jets were moving up to take Devereaux. No one thought they were ever going to take Weggert. That was a huge like controversy that they took Weggert.
even after
I'm so
looking at the
surprised.
combines from 2016, I would have taken Devereaux. I thought he had a better
Oh yeah,
combine.
absolutely. Weggert was solid in college, but he was definitely not a Devereaux.
Yeah.
Devereaux had the production, and he's been given every opportunity by the Saints with their receiving core, and he's just
Oh
not
my
lived
God.
up to it.
I mean, Sean Jenkins is great. Reagan Newman is good. They've got good guys to throw to. Even Kevin Richards on the backfield will get catches once in a while. So
well, Kevin Richards is now out.
yeah,
he's
he's
been
done.
That's
a
huge.
decent period of time if looks are correct, because an Achilles generally takes you out for a long period of time.
His season's over.
Yeah, his season's over, and I think with him goes the Saints' playoff hopes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
oh, no.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because
Their playoff hopes were the playoff push for them was going to be tough in their division anyways, but without their best offensive or second best offensive player by Sean Jenkins, they're not going to do it. With no running game, Devereaux is just going to fall over.
Meanwhile, on KC's side, I want to take a little credit. In their DraftKings section, I was hyping up Heinz Mertens. 9 receptions, 156 yards, and a touchdown. That guy's an animal.
I mean, look what Justin Buchanan did. I mean, he only had 68 rushing yards, but he had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown.
hmm
I mean, he's
Yeah.
not a
and
great running back,
9 yards per reception.
but he's going to give them a little versatility that I think helps their offense a little bit.
Yeah,
Give Wheeler some check down options.
I mean, Wheeler had an incredible game, though.
Yeah.
Wheeler had the game of his life. I don't think I've ever seen him play this well.
He's been really good this season, though.
Yeah, he's been really good the whole time he's been in KC. He's been well.
Yeah.
He's been well. I think
Honestly,
KC's
one
another
of
team that needs to go on offensive line too.
That's what shocked me so much about the fact that Casey was shopping Wheeler. I think he's been really great for them. I don't know why they would ever do that.
I think they were just MC does look to see what he can get. Just because he's putting someone out in the block doesn't mean he's going to trade them. He's seen what the market is and what he can get.
That's Enmy's too. So
I think it would be really interesting if we saw the kick average, because with their with Skip out, they're using a 73 punter as their kicker. I'm surprised that didn't have more of an effect on this game.
Well, they probably, to compensate for that, went aggressive with their play calling, so they wouldn't kick field goals.
The third down efficiency tells a lot. Again, I mean, Saints 3 of 12. There's a lot of times in college football where North Texas just put the ball in Sean Jenkins' hands and watched him try to win a game. Last season was the same thing. Jenkins pretty much beat teams by himself with kick returns and like little screens.
John Jenkins deserves a better quarterback than Aaron Devereaux.
It's sad but true.
Who's their backup? I don't even know who the Saints' backup is.
I'm looking at it right now. It's
Their backup is Mike Thomas.
USC.
No. He might not be. He's definitely worse.
Jumanji, kicking field goals with your punter can cost you games. Didn't that make him lose the playoff game with BC?
Yeah.
That's rough.
You know, if the Saints want to go with a new direction at quarterback, this might be the draft to do it. Quarterbacks aren't going to be in high demand this season, so they can get someone at 6 or 8 that should be gone in the top 3. So they don't have to trade all the way up to number 1 or 2 to get a good quarterback. I think they can get just maybe the bottom up to top 10 to get like a Joel Keane or Brad Davis.
I mean, this draft also has
honestly
unbelievable
I'd say that
depth.
really depends on whether or not Richards is expected to come back next year.
Well,
if Richards
injuries at the end of the season reset pretty much.
They do?
That's what we had injuries before. That's what they did.
I didn't know if he might retire.
Healthy again.
Because he's a fourth year.
This is his second major injury too.
Yeah,
I
forgot about that.
So that's what I'm saying. If they're missing Richards, they've got nobody on running back.
They'd have to either trade to get somebody or draft somebody. And there are some good running backs in this draft.
Ricardo Reed, Chris Bell,
Marcus Miller.
Matheson.
Not
Marshawn Matheson.
Marcus Williams. I know he's a junior, but he might declare early.
I don't see him declaring. There's too many strong running backs in this class.
Grady Mitchell, Emmanuel Fields, Asante Soul. There's so many good running backs.
I have to be a Mac Homer and say Fields might be a good mix. If they go quarterback, they might be able to get Fields in second round.
It depends on his combine too. If he has a bad combine, he can go in the third.
Emmanuel Fields, I don't see him being a second or third rounder.
No.
He might fall to day 3.
Yeah. Which will be a great value to get.
Yeah, he would be.
I don't know. Like he's been so unreal in college, though. He's had one of the greatest careers of any running back. I guess some people won't believe in him because he's a Mac, but I feel like someone will be willing to reach a little bit.
Guys, look in the shout box. Alien just put up.
Yeah, everyone's saying that Mike Thomas is better, and it might be time for them to move on from Devereaux.
Mike Thomas has had a year to sit too.
Yeah, that's true.
It'd be interesting to see, definitely. I wouldn't mind them experimenting with it.
I think he was a 4.5 in college. 4.5.
Yeah, he played well.
Remember.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, he played really well.
Chris Bell, running back Chris Bell at Navy, has had a really good year too.
Yeah, I love Chris Bell.
Yeah, me too.
Oh man.
You need to get the ball more often.
We'll go to 4 p.m. games. Starting off, Washington Redskins at Houston Texans. Dactor, who do you think wins and why? Redskins at Houston.
You there, Dactor?
What? I didn't hear anything.
Redskins and Houston. What do you think? Who wins?
Oh, This is a really tough one. I think it will be close, very close, but Houston is just on such a downward spiral. I don't really see them pulling out of it this time. That's rough for them, but I don't really believe in Tommy Jones as being good.
Nope.
That's just my opinion. I actually like Harold Simmons a lot more than Tommy Jones, and I think Tommy Jones will have a bad game and they'll lose and it'll look kind of bad.
I think Tommy Jones was the perfect quarterback to like sit and develop.
Yeah, that's
I
definitely.
don't like how Houston's thrown him to the wolves, but they can do what they want to. I think Redskins win.
Yeah, I
FSU.
agree with that too.
I'm gonna say I think the Redskins win as well. I really, yeah. I mean, you guys have pretty much said all of it on that one.
Yeah, Javier Fields is really good, and the Redskins have one of the best young corners in the league. And good old what's his name? Man, I'm getting old. I can't remember anything. Michael Barber.
Oh yeah, Barbara, forgot about him.
It's gonna be hard. I think Houston loses and Tommy Jones throws at least 2 picks. Next game.
One thing we didn't mention in the Texans game is Houston is starting Buzz at running back.
Yeah,
Oh, God,
that's
they're
not
They
going to
gonna
go
got
well
they
at
got
all.
Tommy Jones and they got Buzz as a quarterback RB duo. They're going to lose, I think, by double digits.
Yeah, they're gonna die. Tennessee Titans at Dallas Cowboys. The Titans have, I feel, been outperforming or overperforming preseason expectations. Cowboys have been underperforming. Clem, who do you think and why?
I'm going to take the Cowboys. They've got, I think, just a better core of players. They got Von Abrahams off the injury report, so he's finally healthy. I like Kareem Taylor, but I think he's had a worse season than last season, and the running game isn't very good, and their defense still doesn't have enough playmakers to win many games. So I'm gonna go with the Cowboys.
Dactor.
Yeah, I think I'll go with the Cowboys too. It's gonna be iffy though. It's gonna be kind of close. It's a game that I'm looking forward to seeing, but I don't know. I still think the Cowboys should win it. They might not, but I think they should win it.
FSU.
I'm gonna counterpick. I think the Titans managed to pull it out.
I think the Titans as well. They surprised the Raiders last week, and I don't know what the big what was the big thing with that. Raiders had a lot of injuries that game, but the Titans were starting Bobby Kaleidoscope,
That's
and they
true.
still won. We did. Yeah, the
Didn't
Titans have
we-
a lot of problems at running back. I think they might go grab a running back this upcoming year. They need a huge upgrade over John Harris.
John Harris was really good last season, but he's definitely kind of played to what
I
he
think they're
really
starting
is this
Sapp
year.
this week.
That would be a mistake.
They're starting Brady Sapp this week. Looking at the depth chart.
Kareem Brady Sapp. Huh.
That would be a mistake. I think John Harris is a better running back than Brady Sapp.
Oh, they also have Cap Christian as their wide receiver too now. What do you guys think of them trading for Cap?
I think Cap is somehow overrated still.
I really don't like Cap.
No. I would rather have Padios than Cap, and I don't like Padios that much either.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I feel like Padios has been the best rookie
Padios has been
receiver.
really good. I haven't paid to him much this season, but coming out of Georgia Tech, I never was impressed with his receiving abilities. It was always his returning abilities that you were concerned about with Padios.
Yeah, like one big thing about Padios is that he has one more reception than Derek Schwartz, but 100 more yards.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's
Second.
really good. And anyways,
I'm actually I'm going to switch mine to the Cowboys. Just looking over the Titans defense right now. No.
oh, Justin Glass is out.
Yeah,
He's their best lineman. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
And he's not even very good.
Ruck these guys.
yeah. No, I was just looking at that, and I realized that with Justin Glass out, they have nobody.
Yeah, the Cowboys' offensive line is just going to tear that front seven apart.
Oh my God.
Vaughn
It's gonna be
Abrams going to
ugly.
have a 6+ yard per carry. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, when I saw Glass was out and I realized exactly how bad their defensive ends and defensive tackle situation was, I pull my vote.
Well, I think everyone thinks the Titans are better than what they are because they overperformed last season too.
Mhm.
The defense is not good. Their offense is what carries them. Their defense is not good at all.
I feel like they have a lot of guys that are underrated though. Jack Ramsey's had a good season. David Dougherty's been a lot better than I think anyone expected, and so has Randy Humphries. They have
I
a
remember
nice
when-
young core.
I remember when wasn't Doherty the one that when they picked him, everyone hated that pick.
Oh
Was
yeah,
it him or Lee Davey? I don't remember which one it was, but they took him in the top 15 and no one liked it. But he's been really good in 2 seasons.
yeah. Dougherty's been a lot better than I think anyone expected. He was an 82 in a really weak outside linebacker class. We'll move on to the third game of the afternoon slate. Carolina Panthers at San Diego. One thing to note, San Diego is not starting Richmond King.
Woo! Finally,
Thank God.
they finally
I
get
don't
Will
understand why
Thompson
they
back in
were.
there.
Welcome back, Will Thompson.
Who's a good quarterback?
A very good quarterback.
I mean, he was a quarterback in Miami.
The
before
idea of
they,
even starting Richmond King in the NFL just kind of baffles me.
yeah,
well,
it was.
Thompson
just-
was hurt for a couple of games,
Mm-hmm.
but
He
then
had
they
a
just
patella
kept him
injury.
for a little bit.
yeah, and then they just kept him. It was really weird, and I didn't understand it at all.
I don't know.
Thompson
It
is
might have
back.
just been that
I
they
have to
forgot.
admit, I don't have much experience with Haynes. Is Haynes that bad that
Yes,
King is better?
yes. Larry Haynes is garbage. So Will Thompson is back. Mike Latta is probable. Skaggs is still Skaggs, but the Panthers lost last week to the Redskins. Who do you guys have? We'll start off with Dactor.
I think I'm gonna go with the upset. I think I'm gonna pick the Chargers. They're at home. Will Thompson is gonna be coming back with a vengeance. Tron Moses is still out, and I don't know. We'll see. Maybe the Panthers will look a lot better than last week, but I think that San Diego is gonna pull it out.
Interesting.
Okay, I just want to address something in the shout box right now. Yellow Evan said Larry Haynes is like New Battles, and that's terrible because New Battles has everyone in their hearts, and New Battles is always in my heart, and I love him. Don't ever say that again.
Yeah.
New Battles is my hero.
He started for a whole year in the NFL for the Bengals, and I loved every second of it.
See, the thing for me is, with Latta as a probable, if Latta is out, I still can't even see the upset because the San Diego Chargers, when I'm looking over their defense, they're not that strong on pass defense. Their cornerbacks are decently weak. Their free safety's weak. They've got a great strong safety who can cover up for Sosia's weakness as a young starting free safety. But still, I think that there's going to be enough with Skaggs in there. Unless Skaggs gets injured, I can't pick the Chargers over the Panthers.
I think the biggest thing is, and Clem sort of referenced it, is that Tron Moses is out, and the Chargers have
Mhm.
Rodney Galbraith. Rodney
He's so good.
Galbraith.
I miss him.
He
I haven't
oh
played
my
3
God.
games, but I miss him.
he might get 3 or 4 sacks this game.
Skaggs could die today.
Yeah, Skaggs might die.
Well,
If
and
Skaggs
you
dies,
do
it'll
notice,
throw so
as
much.
I said, that if Skaggs dies, I really think that there's the chance, but that's the only way.
I mean, I honestly also just kind of believe in Etmiv as a coach. Like, I think he's really good.
Yeah.
I think he's the kind of guy who's exactly the coach who you'd want to try to pull off an upset.
Yeah, ETMIV is the bane of a lot of good teams' existences.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look what he said with
They're
West
really good at
Virginia.
pulling out upsets.
Who's not picked this game? Is it Clem?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Panthers. I just think they're a better team overall. It'll be a close game. Is it in San Diego?
Yes.
Yes, it's in
It'll-
San Diego.
It'll be a close game, but I think the Panthers will win by a field goal. Just because they have Skaggs.
All right. Next game, Arizona Cardinals at Green Bay.
Do we have to pick this one? I mean, really?
Everyone has the
Novacek
Packers,
about
right?
to run for 500 yards.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Novacek is gonna have a career game. I'm gonna love it.
There's so many different things that Arizona needs to address. They don't have a number one corner,
I mean,
and they
even
don't have a run defense.
if they have Keith Hooks, their defense still isn't much better.
Yeah.
Because Keith Hooks' success he had in Indianapolis was a product of Galbraith and Smith. I'm
Mhm.
totally convinced of that. I don't think he's that good of a player on his own. He can't anchor your defensive line by himself. So even with him in there, they still wouldn't have much better luck against the run.
I
At the
will
same
say
time-
that I think this is going to be closer than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
I think JJ is a really great quarterback. I mean, Jarius Jones,
Yeah.
the other JJ.
Yeah,
Um,
JJ.
yeah, it's a battle of the JJs today, actually, which is interesting. But our pass defense has struggled a bit. We're trying something new that I'm really excited about on defense, and we'll see how it works out. But I think JJ still has a nice game. Both JJs have a nice game, actually. It'll be high scoring.
I really like Darius Jones.
Yeah.
I loved him
Yeah.
out of college. He was for me the guy coming out of college.
Jerry
last year.
Jones is going to be a huge problem for the Rams in seasons to come. He's outrageous. Oh, man. 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's the same ratio as Skaggs.
Yeah. And I don't know, Cardinals don't have great receivers. I don't think they got, I think, one good one. They got Marcus Banks, but other than that, I don't think they're very solid at receiver.
Butch Harper's a bit underrated. He's the Florida guy last year. He teamed
Florida
up
had,
with
like-
Yancey Musgraves to just wreck people.
I think Florida had 2 receivers in the last couple drafts who were like 80 plus. Same with Alabama. Yeah.
Butch Harper and Michael Hawkins, the Eagles guy. I think they're both
Yeah.
Florida guys.
Yeah. Isn't Heinz Mertens a Florida guy too?
No, he's LSU.
Okay.
SEC. SEC.
Oh God, no.
And last game, Seahawks, 49ers.
This is gonna be the best game of the.
Yeah, this game's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
This game will be great.
I'm going to go with the Seahawks. They're just really, really dominant. I can see this game going either way. It's going to be really close, or the Seahawks are just going to truck the Niners. FSU, what do you think?
Honestly, I can't see San Fran pulling it out. I want them to, but I don't see them pulling it out.
Dactor?
I'm gonna go with Seattle. I think they're gonna kind of. Is Vaquero still starting?
I think it's Leicester now.
No, it's Leicester.
I need to check.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's checked.
That's
starting.
definitely good for the 49ers, but I still think that Seattle's gonna win just because they're Seattle. They're incredible.
Oh, Todd Lester's starting, but he's probable due to a concussion.
If he doesn't play and
Oh.
Orly Vaquero doesn't play, who plays?
Mike Hill at NC State.
Holy shit, that
I
would
mean-
be bad.
That's not that bad. He went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It
true.
was the first season, and he hasn't played in a while. But it's not like he's like Larry Haynes. All right, we're not
But I
talking
mean,
about
this
that kind of
is
guy.
this is the Seahawks defense. They're
That's
just
true.
secondary.
If Todd Lester can break out one of his miracle 70-yard touchdown runs, the Niners have a good chance of winning.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks too. Close game. I love Xander Williams. I always will. And I think that he's playing probably his best season ever. So I just think he's gonna help the Seahawks go probably get 12 wins this year at least. Win the division handedly.
Oh God. Xander Williams is so good.
I'm gonna go with the Seahawks.
He's Sim Russell Wilson. I hate that guy.
Yeah.
Sunday night, we have
A really good
Billion
matchup.
and the Oakland Raiders taking on Blitz and the Tampa Bay Bucks.
I'm gonna say something. I don't understand how the Bucks are such a good team when Blitz is never online. I don't understand how they're so good. he's got like 2 good quarterbacks he can roll with. He's got a really good running back. I don't know, the team just seems like it's always overperforming what they should be.
Taylor Hayden is the best quarterback out of the 2016 class, and it's not even close. It's not even close.
It's not untrue, actually.
Who else came out? Was that the Devereaux and
Yeah, that's the
Lester?
Devereaux, Weggert, Simmons class.
And wasn't Lester in that class too?
Yeah, Lester's in that class.
Yeah, I would take Hayden over all of them.
Easily.
Yeah.
He's so
And I don't even
good.
like scramblers.
But Hayden's not a scrambler. Like that's the biggest
He's
selling
not.
point of him. Is he throws like a pocket passer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Occasionally runs. Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm just, and again, Mac Homerism, but I'm really surprised and disappointed with how Spears has been this year. And I know it's his freshman year, and freshman years on running backs is not always a great thing, but he's just underperforming my expectations.
I mean, this has been the year of the rookie running back, and he's kind of been left out of that. Between like Novacek, now Chacon is playing decently. Obviously, Ron Thomas, and then a few others that I really
Troy
should not be
McCray,
missing.
Troy White.
Yeah, McCray and White, the Troy brothers. Spears, I was always really low on him coming out of college, just because I thought he was just abusing really weak MAC defenses. He didn't have an offensive line to speak of, but
See, that's why I was higher on him, is because while the defenses weren't great, he had paper. Let's not make jokes about it. It was a two line at best.
Oh my god,
it was pretty insane. He was basically Leonard Fournette against Alabama this year.
Oh.
Uh,
We'll
Do you
go
wanna
ahead and
mention
make
the-
our picks now. For
we
this
did
game.
forget one quarterback in the 2016 class, Ryan Clark.
Oh yeah.
But he's not as good as Hayden.
I
Ryan
wouldn't
Clark,
say either,
why
but
can't you
we did
win?
forget him.
You put up such good stats.
He is playing really, really well. Like I was really surprised when I was looking at last night how good
He's not
playing
doing
this year.
enough, though. He's like the ultimate game manager. He can't do anything on third down. They're like the worst third down team in the NFL.
Hey, have the Browns played yet today?
They have a bye.
Oh, they're on bye. Okay.
Yeah, bye. Yeah, I ended up talking about them.
All right. Who do you have picked for the Sunday night game? I'm rolling Oakland. I think they're
Really?
the best team in the AFC, the entire conference AFC. They have the best receiving core in the league, and they have like occasional inexplicable losses against like Kansas City Chiefs and the Tennessee Titans, but I think that's just them working at their kinks. They're gonna play really well against Tampa Bay and beat them by 2 scores. Clem, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I like Taylor Hayden, but I love Nick Hall. I think Nick Hall's got a great receiving core. He's got Marvin White, Mark Triplett. I think was it Brian Gary or Brian Jones
out.
at tight end?
He's out, but he's got Matt Thomas, the Hawaii guy.
Yeah, touchdown machine there. Yeah. So, I like the Raiders. They lost to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are kind of an up and down team, but they're not a terrible team. I think that they're just trying different things with their teams as well. They're a bit young at places, but they're not what they were last year. They've improved a lot. Though losing to the Chiefs this year is not horrible like it was last year.
Doctor, what do you think?
I'm also going to go with Oakland, but not for the reasons you guys have talked about. I'm going to go with Oakland because the best running back so far this season is out, and that's going to hurt the Bucks badly. James Odero, that ankle out until week 15.
Oh, God.
Hayden
Who's
is a
your
great
backup
quarterback. Yeah, I don't even know. Hayden,
Your backup quarterback's out too. He's got a foot injury and he's probable.
yeah.
Oh God, that's bad. That's
I
really bad.
think Odor or not Odor, Hayden will keep it close and keep it respectable and have a great game, but Hall is gonna just score too much.
Who do you guys think comes in as that running back? Are they gonna take Alex Bridgewater off the bench? Putting him at
That
running
would
back?
be unbelievably awesome. They don't actually have a third guy.
Yeah, Craven's out, Otero's out.
Oh my God!
really
Wait a minute. Could it be their
Do they not have
backup
a running back?
fullback? Could it be their
Kendall
backup
Shepard?
fullback? Either Kendall Shepard,
my
the
God.
offensive tackle. Oh
God.
man, I would actually donate to the site in order to see that. I think.
Okay, yeah. I
Wow.
didn't realize they had that many injuries to the running game. Oakland is gonna play really well.
If
Or-
Craven doesn't come in, we should take bets on who comes in as running back.
I would love to see Alex
So-
Bridgewater. I would love
I
to
would
see
too.
a double QB set.
Is Will Craven like out?
No, he's probable.
No, he's
Oh, he's
probable.
gonna,
If he doesn't
gonna
play,
play.
though.
Oh gosh.
He's gonna play.
Yeah,
If he
they
does,
haven't
he's
put
gonna
somebody down there under him.
I think the sim picks if you don't have someone listed there. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably the fullback, which means
They
they'll
don't have a
have
fullback.
a 65 offensive tackle Kendall Shepard running.
But then who plays fullback?
You want to carry.
And then, yeah, who plays? That's the thing, actually.
Thank you for checking the
He is
injury
their
report,
fullback.
Doctor. I had not remembered Otero was out. I was going to pick the Bucks against everybody else, but with Otero out and Craven probable, nah.
Can I just point out that no matter what happens, Kendall Shepard, the offensive tackle, will be playing at fullback today.
Awesome fullback there. Like, imagine running behind this guy. Monday night is the big one. Detroit at Chicago. Oh man, Doctor, who do you got? It's your division.
Detroit, all the way. I know that Chicago has looked really good. I know that LeCount is out, but after Detroit just completely steamrolled Miami, I don't know. I have such high faith in them right now to do anything really.
Have you looked at the Bears injury list though?
It's bad.
Yeah,
It's
really
bad. It is really,
it's really bad. That too.
Who are they missing?
Everyone.
Chuck Smith, their defensive end, for good. Bob Armour, their wide receiver, for good. Their free safety, Juan Hutchinson,
That's like
for
their best
good.
defensive player too.
Johnny Allen is going to be returning week 16. They've got a doubtful offensive linebacker in Millen, questionable DeWalt and Whiting, the defensive tackle, and their cornerback. Another wide receiver on probable, and an offensive guard on probable.
Yeah, Morris Millen is their best player, and he's out probably for 3 weeks with that concussion. It was a bad hit.
Yeah, him and Hutchinson are probably their two best defensive players, and they're both out.
They picked up Alan Namath from the Ravens to replace Hutchinson, and I think that's a good move.
That's
Namath is
true.
really good.
So LeCount's out. So then who's starting for Detroit? Is it Bolin?
Brett Bolin.
Yeah,
Brett
Brett Bolin, who's not bad. He's a pretty high quality backup.
With that probable, and especially on a hand injury, it could be bad.
Who's
Uh,
do they have a third quarterback?
Adrian Jenkins.
Oh, out of Fresno State? I like him.
Yeah, I think they're pretty well set up to deal with injuries.
I
mean,
think the biggest thing is like the Bears have been living off of Brooks Shear to David Gaines. How's that going to work against Keyshawn? I don't see it happening.
It's not going to work against Keyshawn.
No. Keyshawn's probably the third best cornerback, which is crazy because he's
Oh,
really, really good.
Him, Wilbert, and Cohen, they're just
Yeah.
on another level.
Yeah.
Also,
it's
Will Hall, actually. I would say they're the top four.
I don't know if Will Hall's there yet.
I think he is. Just the way he's been playing has been insane. He might not be quite as good at shutting down. I honestly wouldn't know. I haven't looked that far into it, but it seems like he shuts down pretty often, and then he's a turnover machine.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to put someone who's played 7 games as the number 4 cornerback. I don't know if I could do that either.
I think Gradishar and Hall are like next up, but they're not in the same tier as Cohen, Wilburn, or Keyshawn. Those guys are just unreal. They've been too good for too long.
Doesn't San Francisco have a really good cornerback too?
Bashir,
Yeah.
He's more of like a punt return, interception return guy.
Okay.
He doesn't really
Yeah.
shut people down.
Yeah.
I've just got to say, Bolin performed very well against Miami. He went for 310 yards on 48 attempts with 27 completions, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And
Why did
Miami's
they throw
defense
it
isn't
48
like the
times?
best or anything, but we do have a great safety, and it's just with that kind of stats by their backup, I can't see the Bears with all their injuries.
The reason why they threw it 48 times is because they don't believe in Elvis One Thumb
Yeah.
Williams.
Elvis Williams is bad.
I mean, he's not. I mean, I would rather have Williams run it 25 times than have Bolin throw it 48. I mean, maybe that's just me.
I remember back in 2016 before they traded for LeCount and Bolin was their starter, and he would just cost them games. I don't really have the faith in Brett Bowling that you guys do,
Me
but I
either.
still think Detroit wins because of the power of that defense. That
Yeah.
defense is unbelievable.
I mean, I had doubts about Bolin going in to my game. That's the only reason I thought we had a chance is because the Loins had their, injury of McCount.
Look out these pipes.
Yeah.
Well, we got 4 minutes till the next game. Good timing, everybody. Shoutbox people, feel free to shoot us some questions. Otherwise, we'll just sit around and chat for a bit as we move in.
How about Super Bowl favorites for each conference?
Yeah, Super Bowl. For me, AFC is going to be Oakland. I like them over the Jets. I like them over the Dolphins.
Wow.
I think I like them over the Colts as well. So I'm going to go with Oakland for the AFC. For the
That shocks me.
NFC, it's going to be Seattle. Seattle's just really good. And that Oakland versus Seattle matchup, the best secondary against the best receiving core, it's going to be awesome. FSC, what do you think?
I have to say it's either going to be the Jets or Miami. Miami's been doing well. Now, granted, we didn't have the hardest of schedules with Brown out, but they've been doing pretty well despite Brown being out. And I think it's either going to be us or the Jets managed to pull it out. As much as I'd hate to see that.
And then for NFC?
Oh, I agree with you on that.
Seahawks?
I agree with you on that. There's just not really that much competition over there as
Man,
much.
Ouch. Clem, who are yours?
I'm gonna roll with the Brian Brown-led Dolphins. Brian Brown comes back and he's healthy and he stays healthy. I think they're the best team in the AFC. I know Jumbo said in the shout box no one's gonna pick them, and I'm not gonna pick the Jets because the combination of injuries and Weggert. I don't like Weggert as a quarterback, and they have too many injuries. I don't think they're gonna sustain this level of play throughout the whole season, especially in the playoffs. And I think if Brian Brown's healthy, the Dolphins are the best team in the league in my mind. And for the NFC, I'm going to go with the Seahawks too. For everything you guys have said, the only other team I think that could compete with them are maybe the Lions with the healthy LeCount. But I think those are really the two best teams in the NFC by a pretty good margin in my mind.
And Dactor.
I'm gonna say that the AFC is gonna be probably Miami for the reasons listed. The Jets are also definitely scary. They could pull it up, but that it's really gonna be between those two, and I'm not confident in calling either one of them. The NFC, I'm gonna actually go against what everyone's been picking. I'm gonna go with Detroit over the Seahawks. Their defense is just too good. LeCount has been out, and that's been huge. That's been a big reason why they've well, I mean, even with him out, they stomped Miami. And with them being able to stomp Miami like that without LeCount, I could definitely see them pulling it off against Seattle in the playoffs. The the matchup with Seattle against Detroit in a couple weeks will be an NFC Championship preview, unless the count is still out. But yeah, I think Detroit will manage it.
All right,
I
everyone.
just think
Games
you
are
gotta
up.
look at the difference in their defenses. Detroit has a good defense, but I really think that Seattle's is better.
All right, everyone.
might be.
The games are up, so we'll take about 30 seconds to just look through, and then
Alright.
we'll talk about them. Oh my god. Oh
Holy
my god.
shit!
Oh my god.
Wow. This is so bad.
Wow.
I believe you said Tommy
Wow.
Jones could throw 3 picks, and he did.
Oh my god!
Oh my god. Oh my god. Will,
Oh Jesus!
Oh my god! This is insane.
Wow, Will Thompson.
Wow.
Holy
San
shit!
Diego
Holy
proved
shit.
us all wrong.
Holy shit.
How does anything? This has been insane.
Oh god. I love NFL Live. Games are awesome.
This is the best. This is the craziest 4
Oh,
p.m.
wow,
I think
the
we've ever
49ers.
seen. What the fuck?
Is everyone everyone's seeing all the games now, right?
Wow!
We're gonna go down the
wow!
list. I feel like the games every game was awesome. Every game was awesome.
Every game was insane.
Thanks,
Had some
Saluda.
line.
I
Okay.
don't. I wouldn't say the Cardinals game was that great.
Boo,
Go
everything's
fucking
awesome.
Novacek! I'm telling you guys, he's legit.
All right,
He's not legit,
Washington.
This doesn't even count, but yeah.
Washington goes down to Houston, and Tommy Jones throws 3 interceptions. Buzz fumbles once. Oh my god. Oh my god.
And they were 2 of 13 for third downs.
Fuck.
Man,
I mean, look at Javier Fields, 20 of 26 for 390 yards and 2
Yeah.
touchdowns.
this is an unbelievable game. And
Oh,
Chester
shit.
Dorenbos.
Horrible. He
Chester
had so much
Dorenbos.
hype coming out
Yeah,
of college.
Durenbos performed horribly comparatively.
Oh man, Chester Dorenbos.
He had so
Ah.
much hype out of college, and then he
So
just
much hype out of Syracuse.
flat on his face.
And then, I mean, this is a rough game for Houston, and it's gonna be a tough pill to swallow.
oh yeah.
Man, they have a lot of injuries too. Byard's out. They lost their best receiver, Von Gash. Tommy Jones is in. It's at least they have an offensive line. That 8.0.
Just want to real quick mention real life football. Blair Walsh just missed a 27-yard field goal, and Seattle's going to win 10-9.
Oh
Wow.
my God,
Unbelievable.
choke! And then back to sim football. The
Yeah.
penalties on this game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
13
what the fuck?
penalties for Washington,
it's
11 for Houston.
old school Miami, Florida. I love it.
Fucking 220 yards of penalties this game. Unbelievable.
Holy shit.
Mm. Oh man, Blair Walsh just blew it. Oh my God.
Fucking crazy.
Next game, Cam Wow. We were
Yeah.
all talking about like how T-Rod might come in halfway through the season, and Kamal Davis is like, "Shut the fuck up, bitch."
Oh, God.
What the other thing is, Abraham actually performed very well.
Mhm.
I mean, this is average for Abraham, honestly, when we come to Houston.
Well, I mean, when you talk about the fact that he had 51 receiving yards, also, that kind of puts
Yeah.
it over the top.
Yeah, that's true.
And I've been shitting on Cap Christian all week. Cap Christian, what the fuck?
2 touchdowns, yeah.
Oh my God.
Cap was the only receiver who did
Yeah.
well. No, 10 yards. Brady Sapp did something too, but only 2 receptions.
Honestly, Brady Sapp might have played better than John Harris. Brady Sapp didn't have a bad game.
That's true. I mean, he didn't have a great game, but he didn't have a
Yeah.
terrible game.
But yeah, John Harris has been really bad.
Is Tommy Furry still with the Titans? Because no, last year
He
he and
is.
Kareem had a really, really good connection.
He might be hurt right now. Let me check. But I know he's with the Titans. No, he's healthy. He just didn't make the stat sheet.
Adam Taylor, outside linebacker for Dallas, has a thigh injury.
Mhm.
No idea how severe that is either. But both
I
these
don't-
teams were pretty good on third down.
And we were talking about how this offensive line was going to manhandle the Titans. They had an 8.5. That
Which is below
unreal.
average. That's
Yeah.
below
Oh
average.
my God. Oh my God. All right. Panthers and Chargers.
Fucking called it.
Oh my God.
Fucking called it.
Will Thompson had a
Vlada
very
was
good game.
healthy, and the Chargers still win.
I don't understand this. And
Well-
I also don't understand how both of their offensive lines were so fucking horrible.
Oh,
San Diego's
Well-
still kind of an expansion team, so they're still kind of building.
And
mhm.
Carolina lost Tron Moses.
And
then they
offensive
lost-
And
tackle.
Ware went out this week. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not good for Carolina. I think they
Carolina looks really. Oh wow, they have a really iffy future right now with
Yeah,
their offensive
this-
line.
kind of leads the division to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay
Yeah.
has the edge now.
Yeah, Tampa
Saints-
Bay wins the division now 100%. This actually opens up the wild card too, because now the NFC North could send 2 teams to the playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
I don't know
That's
if,
huge.
if the NFC South is. I think it's wide open right now. I mean, Tampa has no running game. The Panthers have no offensive line, and
Tampa
this-
has like no active front office personnel, so who knows if they've been setting game plans or what they're doing either. I don't know how the hell they're winning games. I really don't.
oh man.
Well, I'm sure he probably just comes on to set game plans and that's it.
Yeah, the other thing is I don't know how much they actually he signs in.
He never signs into the site. It's like
Yeah.
rarely. It's like once every like 2 weeks he does it just to stay active.
So looking at this Panthers Chargers game a bit closer, with 1 minute left, Skaggs throws up a Hail Mary, Eddie McFadden, 40 yards, ties it up 28-all. In overtime, DeAndre Hawkins gets a pick. And you're thinking it's all Panthers. It's all Panthers. No one can move in overtime. It went down to the wire. We almost had a tie.
That would have been great.
Crazy.
Oh,
Crazy.
great game.
But Skaggs, he had a good game. 17 of 26 for 239, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, well, that's
It's
a
just-
Skaggs game.
Yeah.
Just Lada just couldn't get much going on the ground, probably because the offensive line just wasn't playing up to who they are.
And I know Will Thompson had the pick, but Will Thompson had a hell of a game coming off
Yeah.
the injury.
hmm
What a
I told you he was going to be a
Yeah.
beast.
What a game by the Chargers.
Yeah.
Cardinals, Packers. I think we all picked the Packers.
Yep. Everyone, Gil Novacek has officially transcended human form to become Gil Gotacek.
Stop this.
God, that was
Stop
so
this.
40. Oh my God.
Hey, look who made the stat sheet. Antonio Birch made the stat sheet.
Yeah, Antonio
like-
Birch has low key been pretty good this season.
Yeah, he's been pretty good for us.
Dude,
I'm actually, I have to say, we made a defensive change that I was excited about, and boy, this blew my expectations for it out of the water. I'm really excited about us going forward right now. We've won 4 games in a row. Novacek is looking as good as ever. Jason Johnson had a good game, and our defense is finally starting to look up.
yeah, and Dan Nobolini had a great game.
Mhm.
108 and touchdown. And a lot of people have been talking about how this might be Nom's last good season, but he had a good game. With how many passes were attempted, and then another big blow to the Cardinals. Johnny Grossman's probably out for the season.
Yeah. They don't have a very good front seven, and he was probably the best person left. So,
And it just went
The
straight
running-
downhill.
Can I say something? Ken Wells is a defensive tackle, got 7 tackles to lead their team this game. That's
He's trying.
insanely stupid.
He's trying. At least they got Boom and Noonan in free agency.
So yeah, they're getting 50 yards per punt.
Yeah.
What a leg! What a leg!
Holy hell.
I mean, Sean Carr had a solid game too,
Yeah.
and Marcus Banks did really good. 10 for
Yeah,
10 catches,
Marcus Banks
137,
had-
2 touchdowns. So
Marcus Banks had a really good game.
I mean, the offense has positives. It's a defense that's just trash.
And JJ throwing 2 interceptions. Wow.
I think it was. I think they stopped doing much with Carr towards the end because they were behind with 1 quarter left to go. They seemed to just try to throw longer than they needed to, and
that's why-
gave it right to Stokely and Birch.
Yeah, Jones is probably just trying to force it to Banks.
Yeah.
I believe it. And then the last game, oh my God, Seattle at San Francisco, and the Niners pull it out. This was an ugly game.
Wow.
This was
Just-
an ugly
oh
game.
my god, what the hell?
We start off
Wow.
Alexander Williams throwing to his tight end, a touchdown. Todd Lester throwing it to Cecil Windsor, of all people, for a touchdown. Ties it up first quarter. You're thinking it's going to be a shootout, and no, everyone just shits the bed completely after that.
Patrick O'Neal misses a field goal.
Yeah, the field goal is the difference here.
Yeah, that miss just. Oh, man. Seattle was in the driver's seat for the NFC title, but this puts them even with the Rams. It's going to be weird. San Francisco's a team that's a lot better than their 4-4 record, too.
Well, they had a really tough opening stretch of games, I think. Then they had like 3 good games, 2 of them on the road.
Mhm.
So they were both, I think all 3 of them were close games. So, I mean, they're 3-4 and it looks bad, but I think, yeah, they're definitely better than the record shows.
But you've got to look at their offense, and it didn't do much.
No.
I mean, I know neither team's offense did much this game, but McCray had, what, a 3.5?
More like 3.75.
Something like that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. And Lester, I mean, he was 21 of 34 for 226 for 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like Alexander Williams just fumbled the snap, is my guess.
Mhm.
Oh, man. It was an ugly game. But,
So ugly.
wow.
I'm
What a game.
been really disappointed with Troy McCray this year. I was one of the people who was kind of hyping him up last season for Heisman, and I thought he was going to be really good, and then he just hasn't been.
Yeah, I'd agree. And then I'd also point to San Francisco as one of the expansion teams that have really focused on offensive line. They got Robert Haynes last season. 8.1 is really, really good. I know the offense didn't really contribute to that, but their line held up really well. Man, what a slate. I think we'll be wrapping up the show now. Anyone have any final words to tell everybody before we wrap up?
Fuck the
No.
Jets.
Fuck the Jets.
Shea for MVP, starting that hype train. Let's do it.
I hope Ron Thomas dies.
And that's the game. Thanks everyone for listening. As always, I'm Sagebo, accompanied by FSU, Clem, and Dactor. We will see you later.